Neat Marchand personal journal. So, after today's broadcast...
Alrighty! Thanks everyone for...
All of my co-hosts evaporated before my eyes, leaving the room empty.
Where'd they go?
In front of me appeared a shapely woman wearing a short orange dress and thigh-high boots with 3-inch heels. Blonde highlights striped her black hair, and her eyes were whirlpools. On either side of her moth-like wings were glowing dark eyes on the tips, surrounded by swirling earthen colors.
Jimmy, take her out!
Don't bother. He's sleeping.
What have you done with them?
Nothing like what I'm going to do to you.
I blacked out. I woke up I don't know how much later. I wanted to rub my heavy eyes, but I found myself sitting on a chair with my hands bound behind my back with a zip tie. I shook my head and blinked to clear my vision. I realized I was out in the Korean countryside and sitting in front of Ubermogera's foot. Leaning smugly against it with arms folded was the Moth woman. I couldn't look directly at her without feeling dizzy. I guess drugs are like that.
Who are you?
You'll find out soon enough.
When?
When she gets here.
When who gets here?
Your sister.
My sister? She's an No, you mean Crystal Lady, don't you?
You're not the backa she says you are.
First, she's my pseudo-sister. Second, how do you know who she really is?
Oh, please. Some of us transformed aren't as unobservant as the rest of the Church of Mothrianity. You're speaking to the mistress of illusion. I can see through any mask, no matter how good it is. And I'd hardly call colored wigs and hipster glasses the disguise.
Gah! Did you tell your freak of a leader about Jessica?
The neck falter? He doesn't even know I'm here.
Huh? Why wouldn't he sanction one of his bug ladies?
You insult us with that name.
Oh, whatever. Why wouldn't he send one of you to kill his arch nemesis?
Who said anything about killing her?
What? You mean...
That's enough from you. Now... You missed.
On purpose?
Hey, kaiju lovers! Bex here. This is where I come in as the storyteller. Brandishing her wand, Crystal Lady strutted toward them confidently, despite hitting the broadside of Uber Mogura's foot. She'd never admit it, but she couldn't get a good look at the bug lady and made a wild guess. Mimo glared at the villainess from over Crystal Lady's shoulder as he held onto her back.
You got here quickly.
Mimo's a fast flyer, and no one hacks Baka's phone to send ransom notes but me. Now, let him go.
No.
What are you doing to him?
He thinks he's drowning. My illusions are so powerful, they can even trick the body.
Mimo, sick him!
Mimo jumped off Crystal Lady's back and zoomed toward Nate. But with a wave of her hand, the bug lady made him flip backward and hit the ground, twitching.
I'm sorry. Your little friend hit a wall.
Stop hurting them!
It's only fair. I'm taking your sibling from you because you took mine from me.
What are you talking about? Who are you?
I'm Psychodelia, Mistress of Illusion, and Peppermoth was my sister.
Crystal Lady's eyes widened.
I want you to suffer the same way I did, but at least my kills aren't in cold blood.
Crystal Lady, no. Jessica suddenly felt tears sting her eyes. She blinked them away and scowled.
But the Knockfalter gains nothing from your revenge!
I'm not here at his behest. I'm here for Nerissa.
Lightning laser!
Crystal Lady's beam passed right through an unmoving Psychodelia.
If you insist on fighting.
Demonic shadows with glowing red eyes surrounded Crystal Lady.
They're not real! They're not real! They're not real!
She barely avoided their slashing claws, but a few swipes cut her arms and thighs. Her superheroine instincts fought through panic, and she raised her wand.
Luminous Crystal Moth Shield!
The energy barrier didn't block the Shadow Demon's attacks. They vanished when Crystal Lady looked through it.
My shield blocks her illusions!
Crystal Lady tapped the barrier with her wand, connecting the two with electrical bolts. She rotated it around the circle of shadow demons, glimpsing the real world through it like a mirror, until she found Psychodelia, whose smirk turned to shock as Crystal Lady glared at her.
Lightning laser!
Her trademark energy beam shot from her wand and propelled the barrier toward Psychodelia. The villainess couldn't react fast enough to dodge, and she flew back on impact, hitting the mecha's giant foot and slumping to the ground as shimmers of electricity surged through her body. The shadow demons faded away. Mimo stopped writhing, and Nate... He could breathe again. Crystal Lady ran to Mimo, flipped him over onto his feet, and pat him affectionately, his fuzzy face leaning into her hand. Then she went over to Nate and zapped the zip tie to free his hands.
You okay?
I just had the worst nightmare of my life. But don't worry, it's nothing a few decades of therapy can't fix. That's mostly sarcasm.
Good.
I'm doing my best to get these two to reconcile, okay? Anyway, she walked towards Psychodelia. Psychodelia looked up, and the eyes on her wings glowed, but Crystal Lady blasted the tips off. The villainess flinched both times. Crystal Lady stood over her with her wand aimed right at the Bug Lady's face. Both of them glared at each other, but tears fell down Psychodelia's face despite her defiance.
What are you waiting for? Finish me. At least then I'll be able to see Nerissa again.
Crystal Lady tossed her wand aside, dropped to her knees, and held Psychodelia's hand with both of hers. The villainess stared at her, wide-eyed.
I always believed the Bug Ladies were soulless, irredeemable monsters. That's why I never lost a second of sleep over destroying them to save people. But now I know they're girls just like me. Girls being deceived, hurt, exploited by some weirdo supervillain making false promises. I learned all this a few months ago when another Bug Lady went rogue and tried to fight me to make her master happy. I was so ignorant, but I did what I believed I had to do. All of this to say, I'm sorry.
Psychodelia stared as Crystal Lady hung her head, her long blonde hair hiding her face. Tears dripped to the ground below. Suddenly, Crystal Lady lunged toward Psychodelia and hugged her. From what Nate tells me, the Bug Lady's eyes were as big as saucers until tears poured from them a few seconds later. Psychodelia reluctantly wrapped her arms around Crystal Lady. For a moment, the two of them cried together quietly.
Thank you.
I watched all this unfold and scoffed at it. Something big, round, and fuzzy smacked me in the back. I looked over my shoulder and saw Mimo scowling at me, so I glanced back at the girls. Even my overbearing sense of justice melted a bit. I motioned for Mimo to follow me, and we walked to the former enemies. Put my hand on Jessica's shoulder, and Mimo wrapped a wing around her.
You escaped the Knockfalter in the Church of Mothrianity. I tried to save the last bug lady from his twisted brainwashing, but I couldn't. Please, don't go back.
Even if I wanted to, I can't. Unless my goal was to kill you and not just make you suffer, he forbade me from returning. I'm practically excommunicated.
Then come with me to Monster Island. I'm sure the scientists there can find a way to reverse the mutations the Knockfalter did to you.
Mutations?
Long story. Keep up, Baka.
Well, it was fun while it lasted.
She'll have to answer for her crimes.
Why should she, after everything she's been through?
No, he's right. What I did to you today, I chose to do. I'm willing to face those consequences.
Don't worry. I know a really good lawyer, and I'm sure he can get you a lesser sentence in exchange for telling us everything you know about the Knockfalter and his church.
Thank you.
Don't mention it. Just give me a minute here to call Jimmy and...
He's probably still sleeping. He and that woman.
Oh, Kaguya.
So that's her name? They look so cute napping together.
I slumped my shoulders and looked away.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do.
End journal entry.
Well, my bestie saved her enemy this time, and I'm proud of her. I couldn't have trained a better magical girl. But what nemesis does the Knockfalter and the Church of Mothrianity still have in store for the valiant Crystal Lady? Only time will tell.
MIFV, Episode 93 Epilogue. I am the Moth, a Bug Lady's Psychedelic Revenge, starring Sarah Marchand as Jessica Shaw / Crystal Lady, Jenda Chan as Psychodelia, Nathan Marchand as MIFV Nate, Becky Beck Smith as herself / narrator, and Damon Noyes as Mimo. Written, directed, produced, and edited by Nathan Marchand. Music tracks included the instrumental version of She's Got the Power by Stan Bush, There's Something in the Church by H36T or Heat, and Waltz of the Wind God by Laura Platt. Sound effects sourced from freesound.org and created by JP Gant. Our story segments were made possible by the generous MIFV Max members on Patreon, including executive producer Damon Noyes. This is a fan production and no copyright infringement is intended or implied. All characters, video clips, and audio clips belong to their respective copyright holders. MIFV is a Moonlighting Ninjas media production and a proud member of Pod Nation. Thank you for listening. Next time, the hunting of the Snarky Nate.